In today's video, I'm going to talk about what I've learned from traveling the world for 15 years. I have been traveling the world for 15 years, and these are the lessons that I took. Number one, the grass isn't always greener. This is really important, guys, because I hear a lot of people. I used to have that belief as well. For some reason, most people don't like the place that they were born in. Maybe you're American, you always dreamed about going to Europe or even living in Europe. And if you're a European, you always dreamed about America or about Asia or Africa or Australia or whatever. And for some reason, you always think that the grass is always greener. You may struggle finding a wife or a husband in the place that you're living. And you think that if you go to another continent or another country, it will be easier for you. Maybe you're not making much money to the place that you're working at, and you always think that, oh my god, if I was in that place, if I was in Australia or in that place, I would make so much more money. Something is always an obstacle, something is bothering you, something is stopping you from having what you want, and you always think you're going to find that thing in another country or in another continent. But that's not the case, because guess what? Even if you do find that, it's because you believe that you're going to find that. For example, let's say that you're American, right? And you think that most Americans are bad people. You have that belief. So all you see around you is bad people. And you go to Europe because you have belief that, oh, Europeans are more open, they're nicer, they're nice people. So guess what? You go to Europe, you go to your first trip, and you see a bunch of nice people. Because that's your belief. That's your reality. You think that in Europe everyone is nice. So guess what? You see a bunch of nice people in Europe, and you have that belief that, oh my god, Europeans are so nice. Oh my god, and I'm American and I'm stuck here, I'm trapped here, and oh, I want to go to Europe so badly. But that's not the case. It's what you believe. So my advice at this point is always go to a new country like a clean slate, like with an open mind. Don't be biased like Europeans are like that or Americans are like that. Go with a clean background, go unbiased, and see what happens. Try to explore, try to expand. If you go open-minded, you will see that your mind is going to expand more, because that's all about traveling. Your mind it's about expansion, and that's such a wonderful experience to get to know other people, other cultures and countries and their lifestyle. Just if you get rid of all your biases, you will have a much better experience. The grass is not always greener. The number 2 lesson I learned from traveling the world is that if you don't take any photos and videos, it's like you've never traveled. This is important, because I used to believe that people who are with a camera on their hand all the time, or with a mobile phone taking photos and pictures and videos everywhere they go, they miss out on their vacation. I used to have that belief, but that's not the case, because when I started traveling 15 years ago, YouTube and social media weren't much a thing. They existed, but people weren't vlogging that much, they weren't taking photos. I don't think if Instagram existed or not, I'm not sure, but we didn't use it that much. So guess what? After 15 years, I don't remember most of my first trips. And I regret it. I regret that I didn't take more photos and videos from these trips. It's like I never went there. Some of my first trips were Amsterdam, Ibiza, Miami, and I don't remember. I don't have many memories. I do remember some things, but it's a whole different experience. If you see that on video, it brings back all the memories, because the memories are stored in your subconscious mind. And if you see a photo or a video, you say, oh yeah, that's the restaurant that I went to and I love the food, and you start remembering. But if you don't have any photos or videos, you're not going to remember your trip. And it's such a pity, such a waste. So take some time and do the footage, take the photos, spend a lot of time during your day during your trips to take the footage. It's worth it. The next lesson is that you don't need much money to travel the world. I used to have that belief that only rich people can travel the world. That's not the case. I have made another video, a whole video, how to travel the world on a budget. I will link it down in the description of the video if you want to see how to do that. But you don't need much money. You need some money because there's the other idea that some people can travel for free. That's not the case as well. You need some money. You need to put aside some money to travel the world. But it's not as much as you think. For example, I'm going to give you an example. Two of the cheapest places, the more affordable places I've ever been to are Las Vegas and Saint-Tropez in France. And these are the most luxury places on the planet. Like, we're talking about Las Vegas and Saint-Tropez. But guess what? I spent the less money I've ever spent in these two places. So do your research, save some money and get on that plane. It's just a decision. The next lesson is that you become wiser. Your mind expands. You become so much wiser. No matter how many courses, seminars, webinars, books you read and you take, getting on that plane and seeing things, interacting with the locals, talking their language, getting involved in an activity will give you much more knowledge, information. You become wiser. It's such a beautiful thing to get experiences, to see other people's cultures and lifestyles. This is something that you shouldn't trade for anything in the world. The next lesson is that you appreciate life. You are grateful, you feel grateful, you appreciate life, you appreciate little things like what other people have built for you to enjoy as a tourist, like the creativity of other people, what everyone has created in another part of the world. It's so mind-blowing. If you see all these monuments and places, even businesses, restaurants, all these Instagrammable places, all of that is for you, for the traveler, for the tourist. You appreciate that. You start appreciating things. The next lesson is that you become a more open person, a more open-minded person. Because you see other people, that you interact with people that you may have not interacted before. Because, you know, most of the times what we do, how do you pick your friends? You pick your friends based on your beliefs, your hobbies, your ideas. You usually get along well with your friends. You wouldn't hang around with someone that has opposite beliefs, different belief systems than yours. This is something that we all do. We tend to attract people that are like us, they look like us, or they have the same beliefs as we have. But when you're traveling, you might see different people, different belief systems, and you make new friends that you wouldn't necessarily choose in your own place. So this also creates that expansion. You become more open-minded and of course wiser. The next lesson, unfortunately, is not a good one. It's a bad one for me. You get addicted. You get addicted. Yeah, I'm addicted. I'm a travel addict right now. Because I always had that belief that I want to go to 1, 2, 3, 20 destinations and then I'm done. I had these 20 destinations in mind and I was like, when I do these trips, I'm going to be over. But that's not the case, because the more you see, the more you explore, the more you want to do it, the more you want to travel. You get addicted because it never stops. There's more places to see, there's more cultures, there's more lifestyles, more things to explore and see. So you can't say, oh, it's enough, I'm complete. No matter how many trips you do, you're gonna get addicted. So be careful with that. Plan your time and money so you can travel the world as much as you want to. And the final lesson that I've learned is everyone can do it. There are people who do that full time. They travel full time, either when they're digital nomads or entrepreneurs or YouTube creators or vloggers or whatever they are. There are people in this world, or even retired people, who do that full time, that travel the world full time. So if they can do it, why can't you? There's nothing you can do. And as I told you before, you don't need a lot of money to do it. So if those people can do it, you can do it as well. And that applies to everything, in my opinion, not just traveling. If you see another person doing something that you think you can't, guess what? You can do it as well. You can do anything you set your mind to. So if you see these people and maybe you feel kind of jealous or even envious of them, that they travel the world and I can't, I'm stuck here, I have this job and I'm in this country and I have this amount of money and I can't travel the world. That is not true. That is not true. If you start changing that belief, because people are doing that every single day and they're no different than you. They don't have more money than you. They have the same conditions, circumstances and situations, or even worse than you do. The more people I saw and I met doing that full time, the more I was convinced that I could do that as well. Just a belief, it's just a decision.